Today I've got two dimensional die cut background techniques to share with you. Welcome back to another Take Two with Therese at Altenew. Today I'm using the Blossom of Life die set. This is a huge floral die set. It is layering, and I am going to layer one of the flowers today, but I also want to share with you how you can use the outline die cuts to create dimensional backgrounds. I want to create my own design paper for today's cards, but if you're not keen to do something like this, then you can simply use some of your own design paper that you may have in your stash. This alcohol ink technique is very unique, and I love the way that it looks on cards. And I don't actually do this technique very often, but every time I do, I just love how the designs turn out. I chose some really pretty ink colors here, and I'm using some of the blending solution to actually dilute and add some patterns within the inks, and I'm using just the blower tool. There are many different ways to create these alcohol ink backgrounds, and you can make them as soft in color or as bold as you like. And because I'm layering up my flower, I thought it'd be easier to make a version of the darker color and the lighter color, and that's going to give me some variations. And one thing to note too is I am using specialty paper here. You can use papers that are non-porous, like a Yupo paper, or even some people have even had success with a photo paper. And before the pattern fully dried, I just came in with some foil. This is just normal toner foil, and rubbed it with my finger on the wet parts of the ink, and that just gave it a little bit of shine. Now I worked out on the background panels what portion I wanted to die cut my images from. That's the good thing about having a variation in the actual patterns, that you can come in and sort of make it look unique. And these are very intricate dies, so I did take my time in releasing them from the die cut. I didn't want to tear them accidentally. And I chose which portion of the background I wanted to cut from the lighter panel just by holding that die cut flower in place. And I did actually cut some of the layers for the leaves as well. I adhered all the pieces together using liquid glue. Be careful not to add too much glue because it does sort of seep out the sides on this paper, especially because it's not a very porous paper. But I do like the fact that the liquid glue gives me that little bit of time to move things and make sure that they're lined up properly before it dries. I'm going to work on our first background now, and this is a faux embossed technique. It's really easy to do. I've covered the front of an A2 card with some dark grey cardstock. I've also cut the same flower image here with the same dark grey cardstock. By adhering the image directly onto the cardstock and cutting away the edges, it looks like that has made an impression, or like a raised embossed image on the front of the card. It looks amazing, especially when you've got an intricate big bold flower die cut like this one. I actually only used one flower here. I used the edges that I cut away to sort of fill in some of the gaps. And that's because this flower that I assembled was so large, it just filled up a lot of the space on the front of the card. And then that faux embossed background then just becomes like a beautiful background technique. I added a sentiment from the classic Greetings stamp and die set. Our second technique today is to add coloured dimensional die cut backgrounds. I actually decided to come in with a square of the dark grey cardstock again. I was really liking how this looked against the teal and the browns of the alcohol inked background. I cut the second flower this time twice, and I used some of the lighter alcohol inked paper and some of the darker alcohol inked paper. I'm coming in again with the liquid glue. I just use a knife, like a craft knife, to scrape away any that might accidentally get onto the cardstock. And then I use some scissors to sort of manipulate the leaves so they look like they came from the back of the bouquet. Adhere them directly onto the card base again, and then I could just snip the edges away. Gives that great dimensional look. Now the sentiment for this card I decided to make into a heart shape. It's some black cardstock and I did some white heat embossing of a really pretty sentiment that came from the Eclectic Bouquet stamp set. I did add a lot of powder to stop the static on the cardstock, so I wait for that to dry and I just wipe that powder away with a cloth. I thought it needed something a little bit more, so I added some jet black ink splats over the top, and once they dried I popped up my heart sentiment in the center of the card. So this card would have looked really good, I think, even without the dark grey panel, and maybe done the heart instead in the dark grey cardstock. And to see both cards together now, I've got the one here with the coloured dimensional die cut background, and the second one here which has the faux embossed grey on grey background. I don't know, let me know in the comments below which one's your favourite today. I think I'm heading for the faux embossed look. I'd love to know what your thoughts are, and I'd say thank you so much for joining me here. I'll be back again soon. Bye.
Hello there! Did that video just spark your creativity? And do you want more project ideas and inspiration videos too? Well, if you do, please make sure that you subscribe to the Altenew YouTube channel. Also, make sure that you do click that notification bell so you don't miss a video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye bye!